Okay, so this time we'll be doing the 22A, the financing addendum. So, Mark Snappy still buying the house. This one will be conventional. Buyer shall pay. Now, you can put down, depending on the buyer and their qualifications, anywhere from 5%, and if it's investment property, upwards to 25 to 30%. But we will just go 20% down, as it's going to be a owner occupant standard old-timey conventional loan product. Now, varies by agent, but best practice here is going to be, if there's a blank, fill it in when it comes to these boxes. So up here, buyer shall pay money, or obviously don't fill in both boxes, only the percentage one or the money, whichever one you are doing. But for stuff like this with dates associated to it, where it has the parentheses 5 days if not filled in, ensure you put 5 days or whatever amount of days you so desire. These I'll typically put as just the standards. Right, to terminate this, I always try to make the length of the closing date. So if it's 35 days between mutual acceptance date to closing date, I would put 35 days here. This is going to be standard conventional, so 30 days will be fine. Now, here is a part that a lot of people miss, which is down here with the appraisal less than sell price. You want to standard, you will do will not constitute waiver of paragraph 7. Okay, here is the part where you would ask for the seller concessions. Sometimes 2 to 3% is what people ask, or you can put a dollar amount. Now, there are some advanced strategies that have to do with this. If you go the percentage and then you lower or you reduce the asking price through the negotiations with the inspection, your buyer will actually be receiving less money. Now, if they're paying less closing costs due to the amount difference and it evens out, that's one part. Another thing is, though, if you come over here and you ask for dollar amount and say you're asking for $10,000 from the seller and you increase your offer price by $10,000, this can still go to only paying the closing costs in the different aspects down here. So if you go above the offer price by 10,000 or asking price by $10,000 and you only need $7,000 for closing costs, your buyer has now just given the seller an extra $3,000 because you asked for more than you needed. So there's a positive and negative for all aspects of it. For this one, though, we will just go with 2.5%. And as you can see, the rest of this is just definitions and timelines. So there's a couple different schools of thought about this. If you want to be extra safe, people recommend you come down here and just save it. Typically, and I've never had a problem with this, I will just go back up to forms and I will just open the next one. It's supposed to autosave. So what we will be covering now is going to be the 22D. This is the optional clauses. Always check number 1, square footage, lot size encroachment. This one you can talk with the title company if you're interested in. With number 2, everything I have heard, and I practice by it still today, is that the standard policy provided without doing anything number 2, it provides more protection than either one of these options here. So typically I never check those. Actually, I never have checked either one of those. Okay, seller cleaning. Yep, you always want that. Yes, you want them to remove their personal property, because if, say, they leave a TV or a gun safe behind and that's not checked, technically they can come back afterwards and try to get it back. Is, well, from what I've heard. Utilities. This one is on a septic. Okay, cable, electricity. local. It's not new construction. And then for this part, I'm going off memory, but you will want to go either back to the listing or your Form 21, make sure that is accurate. Now, it's very unusual for homes to have any leased equipment outside of like a exterior propane tank. But recently, I've also sold a couple homes, one of which had a rented fence from some dog heaven company or something like that who provided the fence for them. Puget Sound Energy used to do water heaters as rentals. They've discontinued that, but there still might be a couple here or there. The propane tank's exterior, and then maybe some solar panels might have some sort of leased equipment. And as on your security systems, that's not too typical though. Okay, now 8 and 9, the homeowners association review periods and the association transfer fee. Now, even if the listing does not show it's in an HOA, I will always check this because people are wrong. And you always want to ask for the seller to prepay it. Now, with that said, or how I always do this, I have got some pushback from at least one designated broker where they stated since it's not in an HOA, they had their agent counter me. Now, that doesn't make sense because if you read this, it says if the property is subject to an HOA. Now, if there's not an HOA, none of this matters. So that's why I fill it out every time. It's additional protection for your buyers. I'm not going to ask for the seller to do a home warranty, so I'm not going to fill that out. But if you wanted to ask the seller to, that's where you would fill that in. Now, 12 is kind of the wild card factors. In this part where you put your random ask for, like me, when I bought my place, this is where I put selling agent will receive no commission. Seller will pay, it's like $4,300 towards closing costs. So that's where I put that. But I don't have anything weird, so I'm going to skip that for now. On to the next one. Paranoid, go save. If you're not, just go to the next form. Here's the FERPTA. Here's the easiest form on the buyer side you will ever have to fill out. All you do is you check that, and you are done. Okay, now this one, there are a couple different areas that you do need to fill out and that you will have to sign. Now, the top, typically, if it's a 78 home or before, this will be filled out and it will be in the supplement section. If it is not, skip the top and then come down here. Typically, buyers will waive the inspection, but not always. So you do want to make sure you do ask them this. So if they accept it, you check that. You want to go with all the defaults, 10, 3, standard. And here's the part you need to remember. Down here, this is one of the few forms that you as the selling broker have to sign. And it's also, the KW acknowledgments reinforces this by you having to give them the lead-based paint pamphlet. But most of this is going to be on the seller side. Okay, this one is also one that is typically filled out by the seller, and hopefully it'll be provided inside the supplements. So if they have not, all you need to do is come down here to the bottom, put 5 days, and that's all on there. Okay, well addendum. Now, this property is on a community well, so it's not a single connection. So we will go with 2 people there. Well document will be 10 days. Now, depending upon it, you might want to give them a little bit of leeway, but 10 days is a standard. With the well inspection, I know up here in Washington State, around this last time I had one, they took about 2 weeks for someone to get out there. So you might want to call the companies and figure that out if your buyer's just not going to go and fill it out or do the water test themselves and take it to somewhere like Dragon Lab. Okay, Thurston County Septic. Now, the good thing is the well, your buyer has to pay for all the testing. The septic is handled by the listing side of the house. So this one is served by a private septic system. And then let me. Okay, so the maintenance records will be 10 days. And now this one is not actually on a septic, but we are going to pretend like it is. It's very unusual to be served by a shared septic system. You might see that with some of the older duplexes around the area. I know these days they require duplexes to have a single sewer connection per one. But then again, they're also with the city councils, the missing middle in Olympia. They might be changing that to go back to having a split connection to the sewer. And then again, that's not a septic, so that's neither here nor there. Most buyers never attend inspection, but you want to give them the option, so usually check that. Standard there. Standard there. On to the next one. Okay, title contingency is another easy form. Okay, so standard here, standard there, and then here in the middle, you do not want to do mutual acceptance because you're not going to have the title report most likely at that point. You want to do the date of buyer's receipt of prelim title. Okay, here's your inspection contingency. Check box A. Buyer may include an inspection of the sewer system. Yes, always include that. You can get your sewer line scoped for about $2 to $250. Then again, it will cost potentially up to $10,000 or more for a sewer line that is too damaged. So the return on that investment is significant. So I always recommend my clients get that. Usually, always go for the standards with all the rest of these. Always select neighborhood review contingencies. Now, this one is just give you another out. And I think that's all the big ones. Okay. Now on to a little bit of strategy. So if you're in a very competitive market, which we're still kind of sort of in at this point in late 2018, you can sometimes skip this down to a 5-day or even a 7-day inspection period. And if it's set up properly, you'll end it on the weekend, which means technically it won't be ended till the next work day, which would mean Monday or Tuesday. So you could put down 7 days and have it actually be 10 on occasion, depending upon when you put an offer on. If you're in a very competitive market, call your inspector, get an idea from them how long until they can, get in there and do the inspection, and then go with that amount of time. Let's go 5 days for this. Now, down here to waiver inspection. So it's your buyer's choice. If they say, you know what, I don't need an inspection, going forward without it, it is within their rights to waive the inspection. With that said, if they do want to waive the inspection, ensure for your own, CYA cover your ass, come over here, and if you check that, you need to shoot them an email that says something along the lines of, hey, I'm advising you against doing this. You have stated you still want to. Please confirm that I have advised you to not waive the inspection. And then you would do it. Okay, well, that is everything on how to fill out these forms. If it's needed, I guess I'll make a video to show people how to send the offers, but that'll come down the road.